Okay. What if you could advertise to your local audiences? I think that's already possible through things like Facebook, etc. What if you get more granular in approach to, say, TV advertising? And also, what if you had access to a proprietary network to only advertise to the customers that shop, eat, and spend money at the places you choose? Now, in my opinion, that would be something. And that's what we'll be exploring with our guest today. Hello, and welcome to the Predictable B2B Success podcast. I'm Vinay Koch, and our guest today is David Van Beekum. David, you're the co-founder and creator of Tweva, the world's first social TV network for small businesses and influencers. You're something of a digital marketing guru, startup enthusiast, and tech expert. Now, I believe you've been working behind the scenes for the most part behind Tweeva's success to date, but then something changed more recently, and you've decided to step out into the limelight. I'd love to hear about that. But the last time we spoke, I think you were very much focused on securing some investment for Tweeva. I know, have you acquired that funding as yet, or is that still in the works?
We're still working on that. It's
Okay.
the investment side of things with the economy and all these other pieces have shuffled around just a bit. And I think we're all feeling it. But some of the venture capital, I would say I've gotten emails on multiple of these other firms. They're talking about, oh, pieces of this are drying up for the next quarter or 2 quarters, and they'll see in the future.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. But I'm curious, what was it that got you into this whole social TV network space and creating Tweeva to what it is? Was there a specific problem that you were trying to solve for, and is it still the same problem today?
Yeah, it's the same problem. It really was born from all the co-founders were really sitting around, and after we had built a project to help the distribution of food from the sales, the wholesale side, we were talking about how to advertise that business and possibly other small businesses in the restaurants that were the co-founders. And we were looking around saying, hey, what is a technology that really has not been upgraded in a while? And so we were looking around, and just about that time, I think it was one of the big franchises, like a pizza company, maybe Pizza Hut or Domino's or something. And it showed on one of their TVs. And I just looked at them. I said, jokingly, I was like, how dare they advertise pizza in your pizza joint? And we laughed about it. And we just came to this idea of, could we create like a little screen that would promote the small business and not be competitive? So we were trying to solve this problem of, don't advertise your services on my screen, and then can I control it? Can like the small business owner control a little bit of the content on the screen? So that's the idea and how it came to be.
And how could you give us an idea of where you're at currently? Maybe the size of the company and the customer base that you serve currently.
We were looking at the customer base of small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So we were trying to figure out if, let's say, a plumber or an electrician would be in that restaurant. Could they add an ad to the TV? Because right now, what would be the way that they could tell people who they were? It might be a business card or a pamphlet, right, at the front of the restaurant, and you might see 5 or 6 of those. And so we're like, okay, who would be the target customers? The people that are sitting and eating at the restaurant. And because one of the co-founders he was a people person, so he would talk to everybody. Oh, hey, if you need a plumber, he's sitting over here. Or if you need an electrician, he's over here. Okay, but what about when you're not there? Who's doing that little networking to all those customers? I said, wouldn't it be neat if we could include those small businesses in the mix? So when you're sitting there, maybe you're enjoying your food and you look up and you see somebody fixing, let's say, I don't know about a toilet. I wouldn't say I want to be eating and watching somebody fix a toilet, but you know what I'm saying? It's like somebody's working on a plumbing or somebody's working on electrical, and it would say, hey, this person's available in the community. And the reason why is because we didn't want it to be a sales pitch. I'm the best plumber in the world. Call me now. Bam, like in 30 seconds. We wanted to be something in the form of TV, something like This Old House. Remember This Old House show? before we had these rebuild your home and then give them $100,000, you had this show called This Old House where they would repair and show the homeowner what to do. So I thought, could we do that at a local level? Could we get the plumber to record 10 minutes of content, edit it down to a 5-minute clip? And it becomes a little bit of, they're coining it now, infotainment, right? There's a little bit of information in there. There's a little bit of entertainment in there, but it makes you want to watch it. And it's not 30 minutes, right? It's not 30 seconds, it's not 30 minutes. Somewhere it lives in between. So now if you think about it, you have rotation of somebody maybe fixing something in the plumbing section. Somebody's fixing electrical. Maybe you have a chiropractor in there. And a chiropractor is going to say, hey, if you're sitting in a desk chair all day long, you might want to use this type of pillow like on your back, right? Or make sure you're sitting straight. And so you just look up there and you're like, all right, this guy's giving me advice. Whoa, wait, he's in this community. He's right here. He's 2 miles down the road. So this was the idea of trying to bring all of the customers in and the customer base of any small business. So when we started to look at like statistics, it was a really high number of small businesses could not advertise on television. And we looked it up and we're like, everybody's got cameras in their back pocket. Why can't I just shoot a video and put it on TV? Because it's expensive. It's really, really expensive. You go to a TV station, you're going to look to spend $3,000 to $10,000 for an ad. And they might cover a huge amount of land, but then you're driving an hour this way, you're driving an hour that way, because your advertising was so large. So, and went into this other idea, okay, can we get hyper-focused, hyper-local, where I could just advertise what I wanted to people in specific places, at specific times. And it really, in the tech world, it got really complicated after that.
I'm curious, are you nationwide across the US?
The system is available nationwide. It's built to be anywhere, but we're just getting started with the marketing side and we're just pushing out of the version 2 of the product. So we're local in Florida, but we're also got a little bit in Texas, a little bit in North Carolina, a little bit in New Jersey, not in every state yet, but we are constantly looking for businesses and also local reps to start the Tweeva brand in their city and in their town.
When we first talked, I was quite intrigued because I remember noticing that some of the large SaaS companies in the world, say Canva, for example, had started advertising in places that were primarily the domain of local businesses. And I'm thinking buses. They advertise on the sides of buses. They were advertising on the sides of bus stops as well, etc., which was very much a local domain. I thought it was interesting because here was a product or a company that had a product that was available to people worldwide. And for a long time, they had focused very much in the online space, but now had begun focusing on specific areas where they could perhaps get in front of audiences that they may not otherwise have ordinarily been able to reach digitally. And I thought that was an interesting shift in the way they were approaching their marketing. And I think this platform that you're offering certainly does provide similar benefits to people, regardless of whether they're smaller or larger and wanting to get in front of more local audiences.
It does, and it's more passive, I would call it. It's more in the, I just am living my life and I see it, where a lot of the times the advertising is I'm looking for something. Right? Or I'm talking about it and my phone will pick it up. Now, there are other ways to try to get to those customer bases, but how far do you have to really go into the advertising hole to try to find a local contractor or advertise your local contractor business or even a dog walker? Let's say you're at a coffee shop and you just want to pick up a few extra households, babysitting, dog walking, something simple. And how would you do that? You have to throw a couple $100 at a online campaign, but that local screen in that community is really going to start to brand you as a business. And so we've coined it, become a community expert. So Canva, yeah, it's a bigger company. they're looking to brand their software design to maybe certain groups, or not groups, but certain areas, right? Where they know maybe graphic design is more creativity, communities, creative communities. But if you are, again, that might be a large campaign, part of a large campaign. But if you're a small business, how would you access that same one screen or 5 screens? It's a little bit harder for that business to do that. But it still is very important, I think, to hit from all those different advertising angles.
Absolutely. I'm curious. We talked a little bit about how expensive traditional TV advertising can be. What sort of investments are we looking at if we were to use a platform like yours?
This is going to be down in the very inexpensive. Like I'm imagining somebody that's make it affordable enough where somebody can walk in, put $20 in their account, $20 in their account, and show the ad for the next couple of weeks, right? And it'll be a bidding based system. So as the network is small in each town, it will be very inexpensive. And as that grows and there's less time on the network, obviously that bid will go up, but it will be very inexpensive. Some people, I imagine, they're just going to play with it. Hey, I'll put $5, $10, $20 in the account and let my ads roll, right? Now, it sounds very inexpensive, and it is, but you have to remember it's passive advertising. So you're going to still need enough of it, right, to really brand yourself. So it maybe 1 or 2 screens may be cheap, but if you're saying, oh, I want to be on 100 screens, it would be more expensive, obviously. But we really built it for that local person. Our slogan is for the locals. So it's like everything that we do, Google has that, don't be evil. And we all laugh. We're like, yeah, okay, don't be evil. But that ours is for the locals. So everything that we do, we're thinking, okay, is this good for the locals? Yes. Okay. Is this good for the business owner? He's a local. Yes. We work with some social media stuff. Is that good for the locals? Yes, it's for the locals. So we wanted to keep it at a rate where everybody can use it and try it. And then the ads will be costing a certain amount. But then the community side of the bulletin board will be a free thing where, let's say, a parade goes through town and you have got some really great clips of the fire engines going by, or the kids are waving their American flags, and you want to share a clip. That will be something that will be shared on the network. If it hits a certain moderation level and everybody says it's okay, then that would then be shared to all the screens. So we don't want that to be commercial based. We want this to be a promotion of the town. Somebody might take a picture of a statue or the flowers or something that they want to share, and that would be to the TV network. So that when you're sitting there, you're not watching an ad and another ad. This is a mix of weather, social media, things happening in the community, and then in the mix there, you're going to see little contractors or what's happening at the farmer's market, right, on Saturday morning. So it's really a mix, but we did want to keep it very affordable for people.
So with TV advertising, one would be thinking more in terms of creating an ad. Obviously, there's filming, there's the actual narrative that needs to be created, etc. Do you find that people really cotton on to the idea that you're sharing quite easily and are happy to pull out their phone and start recording? Or is there a bit of an education process in order to get over those mental barriers that but in my mind at least, would tend to come up when looking at doing something like this?
Yeah, there is definitely what I just call it a knowledge gap. It's not ignorant, it's not bad. It's just I didn't know I could do that. And it's equivalent with going into a business 10 years ago and saying, busting the door open and saying, you have to be on Facebook business pages. It's amazing. And a lot of business owners would say, I don't even know what I just started a Facebook account, right? And why would I need a Facebook business page? And today you need one, right? I've seen even businesses that don't have a website, and they just push people to their Facebook page, their business Facebook page. With that knowledge gap in there, there's a lot of different pieces that business owner would have to think about is how do I want my business to be seen And what story do I want to be told about what I do? It can't just take out the camera and it's me fixing something or doing something. We really want, if someone's getting a haircut, what do we want to show them about our business? What do we do? Okay, do I fix tires? Do I change tires? Can I put a little bit of a story or a narrative or a little bit of entertainment with that? Again, we're competing against some of the biggest social media giants out there, right? And the attention span of people is a lot less than it was. But on a big screen, it works a little different. And you have more than 30 seconds. So there's a lot of these variables. You're not playing on general TV. You got a little bit more time. How do you entertain them? What kind of a story? Do I put text or not on it? And it becomes a little bit of a learning process, I think. Because we haven't been doing this for 10 years, it's going to be a little bit of testing. And again, this is why we thought you can't go in there and charge an arm and a leg for something that is not proven. So everyone's going to have to test their type of business. What kind of story? How long? Do I get people to scan the TV and take my offer? And that has to be affordable enough where I can run a certain set of ads on these TVs in this community. Then I might try a little bit different. I have my content, I can edit it a little bit different for a different community, right? And I can do my A/B split tests and see which one performs better. But it is a little complex. I think for the average business owner, they might not think, I don't want to put my face on TV. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And that's where we help with influencers. Because if you think about the general influencer, they are already going to small businesses and they're taking pictures, right? And they're creating content for that business. Some of it being video, some of it not, some of it just being pictures, but they can get those angles down, right? They get like, all right, we'll put the croissant in the sunlight in a plate that faces an outside window. Don't put it on a metal rack and say, hey, I got the best croissants ever. So we've employed some of those influencers in different cities and say, hey, let's go talk to this business owner, create a plan and create some content so that you can run with this. And not just on the social TV network, but hey, you can use all that content for all of the social networks. So I think maybe for the next few years, it's still going to be a little bit of that educational, like, how do we do this? What works the best? Because it's a little bit different than TV, right? It's like, it's a two-way street.
Right. In terms of being able to track outcomes from the ads that you display across your platform, are you recommending unique phone numbers, SMS, unique SMS text numbers, or how are you encouraging that people be able to monitor their investment?
Yeah, that's a great question, because with a phone and a trackability number, unique identifier, you can easily track that with an ad, but those are very expensive. So if you look at the TV side, there's not exact tracking capability of if someone sees an ad, then do we know who they are? No, we don't really. We do know that through repetition, that helps brandability. So we have to look at it as becoming that community expert. As you become a more trusted source of information in that community, you become more popular, you'll get more hits to your social media, etc. That's really a broad view. On the very singular focused, we do have unique QR codes that you can scan to the TV on each individual TV. So we would know if you're scanning a TV in the front of the building or the back, at what specific location. And then there's another piece of offers. So if you look at some of these other ones, other offer plans like Groupon, you're going to pay 70% of, or up to 70% of the earnings from Groupon to try to gain a customer. Now, we looked at it as a little bit different. Can we give them an offer of, let's say, a coupon, a 10% coupon, and drive that customer to your business? And instead of losing 70%, you're losing 10%, right? But that offer is only run on the screens, and either with a unique code or a coupon code. And that would then be able to track, hey, if I got one customer in here, at least we know probably 100 have seen it, or 50 have seen it, or 25, depending on your offer. How effective is that? And again, this is that test and see what happens, because you may be running an ad in a barber shop that is completely different than in a restaurant or in a bar, right? Your customer base could be completely different. So what are you saying at each location? How are you trying to drive that traffic? Let's say you're in the same vicinity. Let's say you're in a strip mall. If you're right down the way, you could say, hey, I'm 500 feet to your left. And that could get foot traffic right from the barber shop to walk right over and try a piece of chocolate cake. Right? That's going to be a completely different offer than if you are across town. And you might say, hey, come in Thursday night, have a piece of chocolate cake, and we have a karaoke night. And those will be tested based upon locations. Again, this is not possible with a general TV network. This is why I said there's a little bit of testing in there to figure out what works best for each business.
And would you say there's a challenge with some of the younger generations, and given the way that they use technology, to perhaps invest in platforms like yours?
Yeah, it's funny, when I would walk around when we were doing initial testing, and I would walk around and I'd have to say I would probably test it depending on age, and I would say, hey, this is a TV channel to a certain generation, right? And to others, I would say, hey, it's a social network with TVs. And it would be a completely different, oh, how is it a TV network? Oh, is it a TV network for the town? And the other would be, cool, that's awesome. Where's the app? Oh, just download the app here. And it's, again, it goes back to that. If you're utilizing the brand new technology, did you just go and sign up for Threads and start posting? Or are you still using a little bit of the older technology? But that's two different ways to go about business. Is the older generation is more about relationships, right? A good name. They want to make sure that you're happy when you walk in and walk out. You're not just a number to them. They are about that relationship. And then the new person that's just coming into the business, they're looking to build that relationship. They know it's important, but their most important thing is get that customer in. Now, the older generation might say, I want to retain that customer. So he doesn't see the same value in that outside advertising, because he's, hey, my main business is relationships, and to get you to talk about this business and how great it is, when the other person is just struggling to get that first customers, or even more. Hey, I want to grow 10% this year. What alternatives do I have? I might have tapped out my Facebook. I might have tapped out my Instagram and all my online channels. How can I get customers that are literally next to me, walking around, to come to my shop? Oh, we can help with that, right? Tweeva can help with that. There's a difference between trying to get somebody off of a couch. How much does it cost to really get somebody excited about food or a haircut or something that's sitting on a couch? Or if they see it on a 65-inch TV somewhere and they're within driving distance, maybe they're within a mile. That's two completely different things. And if we can help them understand that those different audiences and their actions based upon proximity, we can really not guarantee, I won't say guarantee, but you can really see a different result based upon how you advertise to those. But that's the main difference I see between the different generations. One is really, now that I said it out loud, one is really complex. It's really technical.
I would imagine, though, that regardless of the generational point of view, at the end of the day, it's really about being able to communicate a narrative that resonates with the intended audience, whether it's to build relationships or nurture relationships. Would that be correct?
Yeah, it comes down to that relationship, that local relationship. And I know in some of our marketing materials, it's about that old town feel. Some of the older movies that you watch is, hey, go talk to Billy down the street. Oh, go talk to Joe. He's down down this way. And that's what we were looking to do. And it's happened right in the middle of the COVID mess where people didn't want to shake hands. They didn't want to talk. And wow, this is a bad time to do this. But at the same time, when everything opens up, it's a great time because people are struggling to get that local relationship back of, do I know this person? And I'll throw in here a little story of, I'm in Florida, so it's hot. Last year, my AC had an issue. I think we had to replace a couple capacitors in it. And I found somebody local, which I thought was local. And then when he got to the house, I started talking to him about the TV network and everything. And I drove 45 minutes to be here. 45 minutes. Okay. Does your town have, my town's small. It's only got 50,000 people in it, but I don't think one AC person could deal with 50,000 homes. It's like a lot of people, even 25,000 homes. So what is really the issue there? Is it brandability? He was a nice guy, so it couldn't have been relationships. I think it was more about brandability. He didn't have enough of that local relationships in his town. So he's driving an hour here, he's driving an hour there. So again, how could we harbor that relationship, his skills in his town? He'd have to be more public. He needs more publicity. He needs to be on all the TV screens. He needs to be doing some social media. And now when your AC breaks in his town, hey, call him. And that's based upon all these series of factors. But again, it goes back to what you said, is that relationship of being local and knowing all those people. If we can help with, that's where we want to stand, right in that gap right there.
And that makes a lot of sense. If building that narrative is important, then I would assume that having influencers could certainly help with that. Would it also make sense to capture a bit of a case study perspective as well from your customers in order to not just show them what you're capable of doing, but actually hear it from your customers and tell it from their point of view?
Yes. Yeah. With more than 30 seconds, you have more of that time to do that also. And so I would imagine that if you're a small business, what would you again want to show somebody sitting in a barber chair or in a restaurant is you working with that other person. So if it's the chiropractor, it's the customer walking in, signing in, having a little sit down one-on-one. What is the experience that I'm going to get when I call you or stop by? If it's a spa, same thing. What's the experience? What do I get? And that's not done through a 30-second flashy commercial. We really want this to be that more personable narrative. What's the story behind it? How long has this business been doing this? Is it from a past generation? And is it a grandfather used to do this and now I'm doing this? Is it a local farm? And that's the part that's the storytelling part of the story. And I don't know if I can't say that years and years ago I could have put one together as eloquently as I understand them now. And hence the reason for those influencers. Those are like the people that stand in between and say, hey, done 20 of these already. I've done 50 coffee shops. I know what the customer wants. And they want to see this because they're thinking, okay, this is going to go on social media. Okay, it's also going to be, we got to shoot it horizontally for the TVs. All right, how are we going to put this all together to create this beautiful narrative of what this business is? And then we get to replay it, right? Scan this and get this offer for Tuesday morning coffee, and you'll be able to see where people are watching, what they're being interactive with, at what locations, and you can raise or lower those ad spend on each location. But yeah, I agree. The narrative is very important. You can't just throw something up there. It needs to have that story, and the more feeling and emotion in it, I think for the locals, especially, because you're not like, hey, I'm a big brand. We're going to give you everything. It's going to be discounted as cheap as possible. We buy everything wholesale. Just here it is, and go home. It's more of that. Okay, I want to shop local. I want to be local. What do I get now? What is so different about this? And that's going to have to be part of every story. That is, I think I would say a successful campaign is going to have to include multiple pieces to generate that customer traffic and the relationships over time.
Would you say that part of the education process is also about educating people on building the systems to be able to capture these narratives and be able to capture it and help their customers tell it in a way that resonates with others like them?
Yeah, I think you're referring to capturing, let's say, a scan or an offer.
No, just their experience as well. Actually, instead of going, I'm going to do advertising on a platform today, so I need to capture some stories of customers who walk in. But rather than that, be able to have a system that captures stories on a regular basis, so that you can actually pick the best ones that resonate. Certainly, we can incorporate the QR codes and things of that nature. But the mindset of most people is, I'm going to run an advertising campaign, so I need to create some content for that specifically now, and moving away from that kind of thinking to, let's have systems where we're able to ask the customers if they're willing to be part of the content and talk about their experiences. Might even throw in a bit of a discount to encourage them to do so. But actually having this as a regular process that the back office could assist with and capture it, so you actually have a bit of a library of content and people who come back as well. And why did you come back? What was your experience like? I would imagine those are the sorts of content that would make me, as someone sitting in maybe a restaurant or watching something like this, go, that looks worth giving a shot at, and maybe I'll check it out later in the week.
Yeah, I saw someone just like me on TV and they loved this so and so. I probably would like it too. Yeah, I think the capturing of that kind of content is tricky because without telling somebody what you're doing, it's hard to capture them on the spot if they're eating food or doing this. But yes, a system in place is very important because, like you said, when it comes to get that content, a lot of business owners, it's the last thing I think about right at the end of the day. I did think about certain buttons. If you could have a camera and a big red button somewhere on your business, like I imagined specifically an axe throwing a small business. And I'm thinking like they take pictures of themselves throwing the axes and it's fun and there's music and everybody's raw. What if there's a big red button? You hit the button and you say, hey, I'm having a great time at so-and-so axe throwing. Love for you to join. And you could take that content, moderate it, and then be able to post that maybe on the TVs, maybe on your social media. Exactly what you're saying is you get people saying, hey, I should have a party there. I want to go there on Friday night with my friends. That's a specific, unique piece. But yes, having some sort of system that you could capture that kind of unique content that's not produced with a script and a teleprompter, it's more trustable, especially in that local business. People say, hey, this is a real person. Doesn't sound like he's reading off a teleprompter. I think I'll go try that place. Very important, hard to capture. But yes, systems, I haven't thought about it too deeply yet, but that would be an amazing. You have a system for that?
Yeah, actually, help customers with systems, because more often than not, correct me if I'm wrong, more often than not, the problem with most businesses is coming up with a system that stands the test of time, and two, the actual implementation of those systems in order to be able to leverage it, at least the production of those systems, to be able to leverage it for marketing, advertising, whatever have you.
Yeah, I've noticed on the social media side, people with personal interviews and testimonials, they just do a much better than a stock photo.
Yeah.
And I have to wonder if the stock photo already been characterized as some sort of, okay, this is what this is. And this doesn't really need to be that. Maybe it's not that important. I don't really need to send this out. Whereas a unique audio, unique video piece of content makes it further because the networks know that it's unique. And so they want to share that out. And that is definitely an important piece of, I think, any type of businesses. think about it. If you're going to be using a testimonial for, let's say you posted them 10 years ago, they're still good today, right? If you started 10 years ago or 12 years ago or 5 years ago, I know it's a little bit harder to do, and you got to get a system to be able to use that content, but it is so important moving forward into the next generation of social acceptance and social scoring. Having those testimonials and individual comments are just incredibly important.
Certainly, absolutely. Love this. I can see applications as well for bigger companies, as we talked a little bit about before. So I think this is a very exciting and perhaps underutilized space for a lot of businesses. So I'd love to see this evolve and where it goes. But I'd be keen to hear your perspective on how you would see this approach of TV advertising evolve, perhaps in the medium term.
I'd love it to be a shared bulletin board. You go and you put your business card somewhere up in a coffee shop, and it's amongst 50 others. And you're hoping for somebody to look over there and pick one out. And I really wanted a unique place where I could create content and others could create content to show on something bigger than a phone. So what I really want Tweeva to be is a TV channel, the trusted platform, where when you go to the beach and you may go get some ice cream or a coffee shop or something for a little bit of food, or you walk into a surf shop, you're going to look over and see, hey, there's a Tweeva TV. What's happening locally? What's happening in the town? What's going on? And then a little TV guide menu will pop up and you can see who's a live band playing in that 5-10 minutes away from you. So I really want it to be the premier local TV channel. And then people can walk up to it. Hey, I might be sitting at the bar and I want to share a picture of when I was on vacation. Let's say I was at the Grand Canyon and somebody's sitting 2 seats down and be like, hey, I was there 5 years ago or 10 years ago. I haven't been there in 20 years. And it starts this little conversation between me, somebody 2 steps away. That most likely wouldn't have happened if I had it on my 4-inch iPhone screen, right? Because it's not really that community interactive piece. So being a mix of two-way TV, it's a channel, but it's also this two-way interactivity that happens. He might say, hey, I got this classic Corvette. I got to show you. It's so cool. Let me put it up. So he puts it up on the screen. Now you start another conversation with the third or fourth person down. Oh, that's so cool. My uncle used to have one of those, right? So really, it's a bringing the community together idea where instead of being just this lonely feed that's perfect for just you, more of this, let's talk about what's happening in the community. Okay, yeah, there's Bob the builder and Bob the builder, that's a kid's show. Bob the construction guy, right? Oh, and there's Sally the chiropractor. Okay, there's the picture that I was talking about right there. That's the Bugatti I'm going to buy one day. Yeah, okay, you wish. In your dreams, But it's just community. It's fun. So I want it to become this interactive network. I even thought about alerting if you're in the room, right? So let's say Dave walks in the room and I have my notification on. I want people to know I'm there. So it shows on the screen, hey, Dave's here. This is what he does. This is what he's interested in. Cool. That's awesome. Now, if I am at a coffee shop or I am at somewhere else, you don't really know who's there. But if I could see your face and maybe you're a startup guy too, or you're a VC capital fund, I might go over and shake your hand. Hey, Joe, I see that you have your notification on. Hey, can I just say hi? You know, now we've done something that really doesn't exist right now, but it's for the locals, right? It's still for the locals. It's trying to create these little connections, people using technology, but the end goal is still relationships.
Very interesting. Really, on the back end, data would be of immense value to you and certainly to your clients as well. I'd imagine that looking at some of this data potentially could even lead to partnerships. And I'm thinking perhaps the pizza shop in partnership with the local theatre, in partnership with the karaoke place, all of whom may get together to have a special offer on a Friday night or something of that nature to essentially you could go from just advertising just your business to advertising offer that people tend to frequent on perhaps a Friday night and see if you get an increase in foot traffic, etc.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I also have been working on a little bit of the scavenger hunt, something where you could go to local
Right.
businesses.
Yeah.
Hey, where's the Easter egg on the TV or in your business? And all those would participate. And again, it's to increase that foot traffic and people walking in and out and talking. Hey, how are you? Conversational.
Yeah.
We're not trying to replace we're not trying to replace relationships with tech. We're trying to harbor that relationship with a little bit of tech. Doing any kind of offers, multi-business offers, a great way. Again, if I go see the movie, where do I want to go eat? And if I am at the eating place and I do see a special offer for the movie, do I scan the TV, get the ticket? Now I'm going to the theater tonight. Same with a live band, right? Where's the band playing? Oh, I'll go there. Is it $2? Oh, it's $2 to get in. Oh, that's neat. Or half price on my second drink. Something to get you out of that chair or up. Remember, it's not competitive, so it's not going to be food to food. It wouldn't be barber to barber. It would be opposite type of businesses, but just to get you not to go straight home, but to keep you involved in the community.
Very interesting. This has been terrific. I'm curious, David, is there perhaps an aspect or two to this approach to TV advertising and being for the locals that you find doesn't get talked about very much? If so, what would they be?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
To put it another way, is there perhaps a couple of aspects that you find people don't talk about very much? If so, what would they?
They don't talk about with TV marketing?
Yeah.
I think with TV marketing is just that it's expensive. So a lot of people don't end up talking about it. I think because of the cost of, let's say, production, and do I have to have lights? Do I have to have a camera? Do I have to have a microphone? A guy with a boom mic holding the mic? Do I need all that to create some sort of a top quality ad? And I think for TV, you're going to spend a lot. You're going to have a high budget. Most likely, you're going to want some sort of higher quality. But then at the same time, you're seeing some of these funny commercials come out, like even a Super Bowl. It looks like some of this is created with a shaky hand, and they're trying to make it more like amateur shot iPhone, right? So I think some of the time it goes back to that knowledge gap of people don't talk about it because there's missing pieces really in the old system. And so with this new system, it's going to be, okay, can I take it a little less shaky? Can I put the stabilization on my iPhone? Can I shoot a couple of clips? And it doesn't have to be 5-minute unedited clip. It could be 30 seconds here, 30 seconds there, a minute there. And most likely, if you're shooting outside, you don't need the lights, right? And some of the time, you don't even need a microphone. You could just be working on something and you could do a voiceover on that video clip right later. And the influencers would help with that. But I think that's why it's not really talked about right now. It's too expensive. And that production quality, people think I have to have 100% perfect. Yeah, if you're spending $20,000, you're going to want it to be perfect. But if I can put up a couple-minute clip on a local couple of shops for $50 a month, yeah, I'm going to just try to make it my best. And I'll see if we can pull a couple of customers in. And guess what? Next month, you could just try something new. You could take your clips down, you'd edit it a little bit and change it and then repost it again. So it's going to be a little, like I said, it's a little bit of that education piece of can I do it, test it, try it, repeat.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for doing this. One final question before we wrap up. If you were listening to this episode, what would you say would be your main takeaway?
Main takeaway would be the future of this two-way advertising is coming. At some time in the future where you will be able to take something that you've created and share it. You started to see this with NFTs, where people can create a piece of something and it lives, and a lot of people get to see it for very close to nothing. And I think if you're a small business owner, you have to think about, what do I want my narrative to be? What do I want somebody to see? And can I create content that converts without spending too much? And you can either hire somebody to do this, or you can start thinking about it. You just put it in your toolbox and say, okay, we have to start thinking about when this is cost effective. Let's say the LED light bulb is 10 times more efficient. The Tesla car is probably 10 times more efficient. When will this TV thing become more efficient that we can start using it? So start thinking about it and talk to your content creators, talk about systems of how to create those user-generated videos, and start applying those pieces, because you're going into a generation that is looking, this next generation, that are looking for that social proof of who you are, what you do. Do you have 5 stars? Okay, 4.2. Okay, I'll go with them still. They're still good. But I want to see five testimonials. So you have to think about those. Those are very important. And again, yeah, okay, a little bit out of the wheelhouse right now. You do 5 every couple months. For the course of the next couple of years, you're going to have a huge box of incredible testimonials that you can use over all digital channels. And that would be the most important piece. Is, yeah, you can do the TV, but still, this content generation is still based upon relationships. So it still goes back to for the locals. Hi, see, I threw that one in there.
So advice. Thank you for this. And if listeners are curious, want to find out more or connect with you, where would you recommend they head to?
You can head right to our website at tweva.com, TWEVA.com, or any of the social sites. We're on all the social sites. We also offer the business owners a help with their social media, so we can post up to 10 social media profiles. So we're on everything. We're on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram, et cetera. But just hit us up anywhere there with Tweeva. If you're a small business, we'd love to have you join the network, add a TV in there. You can use it for your content and information. If you're an influencer, definitely jump in here too, because we can help you connect with small businesses.
We'll include links to that in the show notes. David, thank you so much for doing this. It's been a blast.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on the show.